Disagree?
You can just tell me descriptively if you strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. You don't have to give me a number. You can just tell me and I'll write it down. So I'm going to read the statement and you just tell me which of those four is the best fit.
Okay.
The first statement, the fellowship courses have met my expectations for the fellowship.
Agree.
The fellowship courses offer high quality content.
I strongly agree.
The fellowship instructors are integral to the fellowship experience.
Strongly agree.
The fellowship instructors have challenged my thinking and leadership approach.
Strongly agree.
The fellowship has given me a deeper understanding of the culturally responsive school framework.
Strongly agree.
The fellowship has well prepared me for the responsibilities I expect to take on in a future or current school leadership role.
Agree.
Fantastic. Those were the closed-ended ones. The rest of the questions will be open-ended, just like the ones we've been doing.
Okay.
In what ways have you personally grown as a school leader over the course of the fellowship?
I think that what I would say being able to look at things from a different lens. From me being a union rep, I've always had and supported looked at things from a teacher lens. I'm still in the classroom. Some, of the fellows are not. And so being able to look at things from a different perspective, like how would I deal with things as a leader, have been impacted by the classes and the teachers from their own experiences and things like that. It's like there are some things that can happen, but it's not necessarily always the leader that's driving that force. They're just a messenger, So
Thanks.
What I would say.
No, that's totally fine. And if you have more to say, always feel free to go on. So a follow-up to that one, can you provide an example of when you have applied your learnings from the fellowship at your school site?
Well, recently I've been placed as when my principal is off campus being the teacher in charge. So being able to apply some of the learnings there. Uh-huh. And that's in that case. Has been an example because that's definitely giving me some perspective on how things work. So, being out of the classroom, but having to, deal with a lot of issues that are brought from the teachers or some challenges with the students and how to handle those things.
Which of the core strategies and competencies that you learned over the course of the fellowship have been the most beneficial? And I know there are a lot of them, so I can briefly list them for you. There's 5. So the 5 capacities are building with others, navigating towards a new future, excels in instruction, leads from within, and build capacity.
Leads from within. When we did our 360, that was one of the highest ones for me, and I feel like that is very true. Like I tried to mentor, even though that's not necessarily what I have to do, the new teachers, just because I know how hard it was being a new teacher and being able to help them navigate through the system, and dealing with different classes, different challenges and things like that. So also being on the IoT, making instructional decisions and things like that.
Thank you. So this is a follow-up. If you feel like you already answered it, you can tell me. Which of the 5 competencies would you say you were the most confident implementing at the beginning of the fellowship?
I would say, can you repeat those again?
Yeah, so the 5 are building with others, navigating towards a new future, excels in instruction, leading from within, and building capacity. So which of those 5 would you say you're the most confident at the beginning of the fellowship?
Oh, I probably would have to say the same one.
Lead from within?
Yeah.
And which of the competencies and the associated fellowship programming has had the largest influence on your approach as a school leader?
I think that building with others, I feel like that's something that is always like a work in progress, because sometimes you have to deal with people who, you know, are in some ways difficult to deal with, but actually, being able to recognize that everybody has a story, everybody has a different situation. So being able to lead from a lens of some being empathetic in some cases, and actually, trying to figure out what exactly the issue is and see how you can help navigate through it.
To what extent do you believe the fellowship has equipped you to lead from an equity lens? Are you still there, Nikita? Can you hear
Hello?
me? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Let me repeat that question. To what extent do you believe the fellowship has equipped you to lead from an equity lens?
Oh, greatly. I think all of our courses are, centered in equity. That's one of our largest focus. All of our projects, a lot of our homework, and everything that we're doing, our guest speakers, our professors, that's one of the biggest things that they focus on is, you know, equity versus equality.
Can you provide an example of how you've applied learnings from the fellowship to lead difficult conversations about identity and about opportunity gaps in your school?
Well, I think that even coming up with having the African American parent um, council was kind of challenging, and something that I worked through in the fellowship. And I kind of brought it up because it was a situation where some of the teachers, you know, the Latin American or Latinx teachers were, had an opinion about like coming up with a group specifically for African American parents. And the way that I kind of navigated through that is, one, explaining that it has nothing to do specifically with, this group, um, in the title of that group, but it has everything to do with data. And from the data, these students are the ones who are having the most trouble in every single aspect of their school experience. And so the only way that we can really reach them is by building relationships with them and building relationships with their parents. I also, you know, from talking through it with some of the other fellows too, and teachers, etc., just talked about how that eventually, like, I want to step back from the role of being the chair of that. I want the parents to eventually be able to lead it on their own, and for them to also be able to branch out into, maybe we do have a Latinx community, our family group, and they're able to cohesively work together and support one another so that our communities aren't so divided, because it really is somewhat divided, currently. And so I'm hoping to be able to bridge that gap
What, if anything, do you feel is missing from current programming that would